I am well and happy and prosperous. How are you today?
It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
I'm so glad you're here to talk about Dr. Martin Dietrich. You're a medical oncologist, and you're here to talk about a cancer cancer that sends just shivers through anybody that hears it. But we got to talk about it. So tell me, lung cancer is the leading cause of cancer among and death among both men and women globally. Is that true?
So it's not the most common cancer, but it's certainly the most lethal cancer for men and women globally and in the U.S. as well, and that by far.
What can you tell me about a specific type of cancer that you want to focus on?
Well, the suggestion of limited stage small cell lung cancer is really focusing on a particularly aggressive subset of lung cancer, one that has been very difficult to control, and even though on our scans we think of it as contained, has really a very high probability of disease spread and recurrence. And we really weren't able to advance our treatment paradigm here for a long time. About a quarter century has passed since we last had approvals by the FDA in this disease space. So we're very excited that the needle is moving now in the directions of better outcomes, better survival, and hopefully also better long-term survival for our patients.
When a person, you say, has small cell lung cancer, how is this found? Are they sick, or do they go get an MRI? What's the beginning of this?
So small cell lung cancer is typically a very fast-growing tumor. So we typically discover it after patients report new or changing symptoms, oftentimes of the chest, cough, shortness of breath, sputum production, oftentimes blood-tinged sputum when the tumor invades blood vessels, or if in later stages also in other disease sites anywhere else in the body. So it's really the location of the tumor that really dictates what kind of symptoms we're seeing. The best way of diagnosing it up front is probably a CT scan. It's something that we can get relatively easily, but then we get additional imaging with PET scans, MRIs to really characterize how far the disease has gone and then determine the stage. And the limited stage really signifying that the disease has been contained in the chest cavity and is typically able to be approached with local therapies like radiation or surgery.
How important is a multidisciplinary approach to this type of cancer then?
Well, I want to say in all cancers, multidisciplinarity, meaning the close collaboration and communication between different team members, is critical. But in particular, in this high-stake disease setting of limited-stage small cell lung cancer, we're really aiming for a cure for the patient is critical. So you really have to make sure that you have a physician that you trust, that works in a team, that works together well and seamlessly, and that's able to advance your care, answer your questions, and give you a tailored treatment plan that is matching you and the features of your disease at the same time. So the multidisciplinarity cannot be overstated as a tool of advancing cancer care for treatment. It can be a radiation oncologist, a surgeon, a medical oncologist, but also other specialties as well, depending on the individual patient's needs, to work together as a team for the best possible outcome.
I want my audience to know that Dr. Martin Dietrich is a medical doctor. He has a PhD. He's board certified in internal medicine, and he's a medical oncologist. Dr. Dietrich, what are the current challenges in treating this small cell lung cancer?
So small cell in general, but limited stage in particular, suffers from this very high propensity, the high probability of the disease going from its original spot in the lung to other parts of the body. This metastatic spread is really what determines the patient's outcome. And what we've been aiming to do with the Adriatic trial, the phase 3 study that approved durvalumab or Imfinzi in the limited stage small cell lung cancer setting, is to reduce that spread, to enhance disease control, and allow ultimately patients to live longer. It's really a very sophisticated way of activating the immune system and to fight off cancer. So very different from the traditional chemotherapy that we've been using.
I'm going to take this one from Facebook. My audience is spread out over multiple platforms, and the poster wants to know, you mentioned a trial. How would they find out more information about this trial?
Well, I think in general terms, the Adriatic trial, like the Adria, the sea in the Mediterranean, is a completed phase 3 study that looked at standard of care treatment with chemotherapy and radiation versus chemotherapy, radiation plus Imfinzi or durvalumab. This trial has read out, has been finalized middle of last year, was presented at the ASCO meeting in Chicago. The FDA approved it in December of 2024. We have a lot of resources available, and I would think that a good starting point is Imfinzi.com, which is the brand name for the drug, IMFINZI.com, as a way of learning about this, but then also go to the patient advocacy groups and other reputable sources to learn about it, and ultimately to also have the conversation with your physicians. I mean, the Adriatic trial is closed, but it's now available as a prescription drug for patients with small cell lung cancer in the limited stage setting.
Finally, how do they go online and find out more information? Because we seem like we've made a connection with someone or many people.
Well, I think there are a number of features. One is get reputable information. The benefits I'm very excited about, but we also want to always be aware of the risks and side effects of these treatments. We have a partnership with AstraZeneca that is very strong, and they're providing all the information, everything that happened on the clinical trial and in post-marketing in the Imfinzi.com website, so that patients really can get an unbiased, full collection of side effects that are being seen with these medications that are included by the FDA and are reviewed by the FDA as well. So I think that's a very good starting point. From there, I think there are other resources. I always like the patient advocacy groups that are looking at implementing these novel therapies and making sure that physicians are up to date on these. There's a lot of development, so having an up-to-date entry is very important, and to really enhance your knowledge and understanding about the drug you're potentially about to receive. So I think there's an importance in understanding the balance of any medical intervention.
Dr. Martin Dietrich, I want to thank you so much. I was looking at your medical qualifications. You have studied hard. You have worked hard. So thank you for the work that you do in helping others. Thanks for being my guest on the Valder Beebe Show.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, I'm Valder Beebe, host of the Valder Beebe Show. We have over 1,000 videos on ValderBeebeShow.com and YouTube.com/ValderBeebeShow. We upload new videos daily. Our site is a modern baby boomer platform with news and information important to boomers. Subscribe to YouTube.com/ValderBeebeShow and stay connected as I interview the world's most fascinating people.